record on the session here. The session is being recorded. We are here live on Instagram. Billy, did you go live?
I didn't go live because I don't want to watch the timer, the feedback. I didn't go live.
You see, someone has to be responsible in the group.
Right?
Obviously, it's not me. So we're coming out of stealth mode here. We've been talking about this, gosh, since the Rubicon. When was the Rubicon that we did?
Oh
Was
man.
that October?
Yeah. I think it was September, October for sure.
September, October. So we're coming out of stealth mode with the Rockalnder Nation podcast. This is something that we have been talking about for so long. You know, everyone's been telling me, hey, you got to start a podcast. And then you kind of have the same idea. And we're like, oh my gosh, we should do this together.
Right.
And the question was, how do you do that? Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have no idea what we're doing right now. All
Yeah,
I
I
know
don't
is
know
that
if I
we're
still don't
live.
think we know how, but we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I grew up in IT. I am a, you know, software engineer, really like a sales engineer guy, right? So I should know how to do this. I have no idea. I'm like, where's where's the uh where's the option for recording? Okay, whatever. Um, but we're figuring out. But the idea is, you and I have such diverse backgrounds, and yet we find ourselves together doing some of the things that I think we both love, which is just getting outside,
Yeah.
enjoying nature, doing some wheeling, some of it pretty hardcore, some of it pretty like chill, and just enjoying the moment with our family, friends, and the off-road community. And I think it's going to be a fun trip, just you and I chatting and
Sure.
seeing where this goes.
Yeah, man. So
So
you
as far as intro, we should probably introduce you because everyone's like, "Who the heck is this like Billy guy?" and "Who the heck is Samuel?" and "Why are they going live?" I see some folks on Instagram who have joined. Um, Billy, why don't we start with you?
all right.
Who are you? And why the heck are we doing this? Tell me your
Well,
story.
so I'm Billy. I am Rocklander.project on Instagram. And my family and I started a little side business of Rocklander.project LLC. We decided we were going to make shirts and hoodies and, try to do something with the brand and do some YouTubing and some Instagramming. But really, all we've done is make a bunch of stuff and give it away to everybody. We sold a few things. And, at first we thought we could fund the trips and things like that. But COVID hit and it's a bad time to hit people up for money. So we try to brighten people's days and give some stuff away. But I'm here in Orange County, about a half an hour from you, right? About half an hour, 40 minutes tops. But, most of our adventures take off at least starting at the Mojave up to 395 all the way up to Oregon. And I think we're doing this because there needs to be an everyman voice out there. And you and I are the epitome of every man. We're just winging it, getting out there, beating up the Jeeps. Sometimes we make it home, sometimes we don't, but there's always a story to tell. But
Well, it's funny. We're gonna get to that in a moment because, like, I don't know about you, but like, there's been more than once that I've been like towed back home. Like, straight up called the tow truck. I'm like, hey man, I'm on the side of this road. Can you get me back home? But before I get ahead of myself, you and I met at the Rig for Dirt. I think it was OC, right over there at
yeah,
one of the coffee shops, and totally hit it off. You had bought my buddy of mine's Jeep, and we kind of chatted, and then like you fast forward several months later, you went wheeling with a really good friend of mine, Jake JL Crawler, um,
yeah,
and it's a small world, man. It's so
for
interesting to see
sure.
how our worlds collided. But by way of intros, I'm Samuel, known as I Am Rocklander. I've been riding a Jeep, and you've actually been doing Jeeps a lot longer than I have. I've only been doing this for about 4 years. Um, I am known for going all in on things, right? Like, like I bought my Jeep, and before I made the first payment, I'm cutting fenders off and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm a really big gun advocate, like I kind of went, full in on that stuff. Um, but I told my wife how I got started was actually, I do a lot of handyman kind of stuff around the house, kind of my hobby. I love to build things with my hands, and I was gonna buy a pickup truck,
Oh, that's
and my
right.
wife said, like, "Why would you buy that? Why don't you get a Jeep?" And I was like, "Really? Like, okay, like, and I tested over a Jeep, and it was over. Like, I went all in, and the idea was, hey, sweetie, we're gonna go overlanding. It'll be really cool and chill and relaxing, and we'll go to places, and we'll cross beautiful streams, and it'll be really nice. And then I build a freaking rock crawler on like 1 tons and 40s, and she's like, I'm gonna die, you're crazy, right?
Right.
And funny enough, the Rocklander idea came from her. She was like, well, you said you were gonna build an Overlander, and I'm like, but I got a rock crawler. Like, what do we do now? And she's like, well, how come I can't have both? And she's like, well, like what, like a rock lander? And I was like, ooh, that's a great idea. But there's things that happen when you build rigs like ours. I think everyone's kind of in that has been there where it's like, all right, well, like I broke my Jeep. So I think it's fitting for me to ask you, hey Billy, how's your Jeep today?
I don't know. I don't know. It got towed Tuesday, and I don't even know if they received it. I haven't even got a call back because they're probably tired of seeing it.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
your Jeep might be on its way to China right now.
Yeah,
You have no idea.
Who knows? I know when I called AAA, I'm a premium member or a platinum member, whatever it is that gives you 4 tows plus the 200 mile.
AAA plus.
Yeah, and I had to use my wife's ID because I ran out of tows. So I'm on to the next set of tows. So we're on
Did
number
they check
6.
the picture though? Did they check the picture and go,
Oh yeah, I'm a dead ringer for her. Yeah, man. So it got towed for the 6th time. So, stoked on that. But, the thing is everybody says that Jeeps are unreliable, and it's nothing on the Jeep that's breaking. It's all the aftermarket parts that break. So
I don't know if it's the aftermarket parts or the driver. I think there's this perception that a Jeep can do anything.
right.
So we try to make it do things that it probably shouldn't do, like driving on Motino on the way back at 60 miles an hour with no, like, upgraded steering components, and wondering why there's steam and smoke coming out of your steering components. I mean, I heard it from a friend. Didn't happen to me.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
well,
mean,
it actually happened to me.
this time wasn't my fault. And well, I don't know what's wrong yet, so I can't say that. But I have a feeling it was a bad gear install. So it just we got all the way home, and like the last half an hour outside of home, it started making noise. Instead of
Mhm.
doing any more damage, I just had it towed over so they could pull it apart and take a look at it. But
No, that's smart, man. I've been known to do a lot of here, hold my beer moments, and like go do stupid stuff. I mean, I think at that point I've learned a lot of lessons. We can talk about, over the next couple of months as we expand on our episodes or whatever. How many times did Samuel break his Jeep? Um, yeah, it's been a a road of improvements and progress as I continue to break things. Just because we are pushing the limits of it. I think I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves about what is it that we're really trying to accomplish here with Rocklander Project and I am Rocklander and the Rockalnder Nation podcast. But it is really about, at least for me, pushing my own limits and seeing how far I can go before I either reach the limits of my rig or reach my own personal limits. And I I've seen you wheel with the full set of like gear and like whatnot in the back and kids in tow and I think you and I will agree and we can talk about it later, but that is really the spirit of like rock landing, right? I mean, it's
Absolutely.
about getting out there and having fun and sharing those experiences with your kids. And I just love watching your posts on Instagram. I mean, I live vicariously through you sometimes and some of the pictures that you post. And I always wonder, like, where the heck is he right now? Where is Rocklander Project today? And so, I'd love to just like spend a minute or two, or maybe more. Like, where did Billy go? Right, you're always going somewhere. Where did Billy go? Like
So I've been pretty
last
blessed,
week or?
man. I've been lucky. So I've been a stay-at-home dad the last couple years, for reasons that aren't so lucky, but
Mm,
it has given me time to connect with my kids. I was in the
mm,
auto industry for the last 15 plus years, writing service, working 7 to 7, Monday through Saturday. And now I got the kids full time, 24/7,
mm.
and we are taking advantage of a lax schedule with COVID and all the stuff that happened, and we rolled right into summertime. And so with me being off, I mean, we've gone everywhere. So my wife's rad about all of it. And like this last weekend, she took her Jeep out. So she was tired of sitting shotgun all the time and
I'm a
not
little
listening to
jealous,
her.
man. Yeah, I got two Jeeps. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with five, we got a family of five. So trying to put everybody into the one Jeep and get out where we like to go, it was almost impossible. Even with the
Mhm,
boxes on top and all the gear. I mean, 5 sleeping bags takes up everything.
mhm, mhm.
So we bought her the Jeep. And so, at least once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks, she comes out and it just makes for rad trips. And this last weekend, we spent 3 days out in Death Valley, just touring around, kind of doing the touristy stuff, but doing a couple 100 miles on the dirt, going through a few
Mm.
canyons, playing with donkeys, going down to the
Whoa,
racetrack.
whoa, wait, back up, back up. Okay, you're gonna have to expand on that a little bit. Playing with donkeys,
Bro,
like,
so we rolled up into the Ballarat ghost town, and as soon as we pulled up, about 12 hungry ass donkeys came over begging for food. And it was to the point where, like, at first it was cute, and then you see me doing the fat man shuffle trying to get away from these things, and they were chasing me. And I look back, and Joy's in the car, and she's like, "Good luck." And that's how I got the picture of those
you're on
cats.
your own.
Yeah, I got that picture of them peeking around the back of the Jeep because they were following me around it in a big circle, just waiting
You're
for me
like,
to
what
have
you got in
food.
there, bro? You got
Yeah.
any cookies?
Y'all got a cheeseburger? Yeah, it was pretty
Oh
funny, man.
man.
But it was a good trip. Covered a lot of miles and did some camping. It got cold, so that was cool. I like it when it gets in the
Mm,
20s. But anybody who left drinks out the night before, everything froze over. It was pretty rad.
no way.
Yeah, yeah, it was
That's
cool.
it's funny. I've only been to Death Valley and parts of the Mojave Trail, but I've always wanted to do the full Mojave Trail and take like 4 days to do it. Just get out there, see the sights, camp out, cook and just enjoy the history behind that whole trail and what it has to offer. It's so cool. So what would you say was the highlight and the low light of that trip?
I would say the highlight of the trip, honestly, I know it sounds corny, but it was those donkeys. Because it's like How many times you go out to the Sierras? How many times when we're on the Rubicon, we didn't see any wildlife, really? I mean, you see some deer every now and then and a few cool birds and an owl. It was rad just to have them walk up on you. And then as we were going through the canyons and stuff, they were everywhere. So we kind of like went up by the Charles Manson hideout, and they were all in those canyons. And to me, it's seeing the wildlife and just having them walk up on you interested. It's something that really hasn't happened before. It was pretty cool. You know, all the other places we go, we'll see a deer every now and then, and that's it. And we go pretty deep, we go pretty far. And you know, they hear the Jeeps or the us, they smell us, whatever, you know, they don't come around, but that was rad. That was just something different.
You know, it's funny you say they smell us, because I kind of remember a story from when we were on the Rubicon. And I'd like to transition for a moment. I think we're going to title this podcast, "Do you need a $300 shovel to poop in the woods?" Because there was a moment, you know, and for those of you who weren't there, which is basically like everyone who's probably listening to this, other than like, you know, a handful of folks that were there with us, we rolled up to the Rubicon. And this is where Bill and you and I, that was our first wheeling trip together, legit wheeling trip. And I'm setting up, and everyone knows I love to cook on the trail, man. Like, I just love cooking on the trail. Like, if y'all brought food, I'm sorry, I'm cooking. Put your food away, right?
Right. I wish I would have known that before I hit the store.
You know, I honestly, I don't like to broadcast it too much, because, like, you know, it's like, hey, like, I may not want to cook that day or whatever, right? But I just kind of like to feel it out, and like if I'm feeling it, we'll cook. If not, like, everyone eats cold cuts, whatever they brought, and it's, we have good time either way. But in this particular case, I was setting up a scuttle. You have this really cool lighting system. What's it called?
That ready light.
Yeah.
The solar powered ready light.
That thing is legit. I know we're not sponsored, but that thing is legit. Like, that ready light system, like, it just lit up the whole kitchen area. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm just using my headlamp, whatever. Anyway, I'm setting up the scuttle, and I got my table. And I think at that time, I would try to do like a mixed drink or some kind of like drink of the day kind of thing. And I was doing old fashioned, like legit.
Yeah, old fashions.
They were like legit old fashioned with a really good whiskey, the Menace cherries, whatever, however you pronounce that, and all the accoutrements of like a true old fashioned.
Sure.
And I'm getting this set up. And Billy, what were you setting up like right next to the scuttle? Do you remember?
A toilet.
A toilet. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you don't put the pooper next to the kitchen. Like,
bro, to me, it just killed two birds with one stone. I mean, you know, I didn't have to go anywhere at that point.
You could eat, take a crap, like, with convenience, right?
Yeah, just right off the scuttle. Just order to be on the can.
It's all about efficiency. Sometimes it's about efficiency. You got to get from point A to point B in the shortest time possible. This was not one of those moments.
Yeah.
You know, so here's Billy. If you don't mind me sharing the story, here's Billy. He's setting up his, like, you know, and it was a nice, you know, like, pooper. Got legs on it, a lid and everything.
It was classy.
And I'm like, bro, what's that?
I said it was super classy. It was a nice toilet.
It was super classy. You know, it really was. I mean, it had the two-tone colors on it. It was very nice. Mine's one, you know, monotone, so it's not as fancy, but it was like, I shit you not, like 5 feet away from like the kitchen. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, well, I'm just setting the pooper. Like, I'm like, no, man. And so we probably spent the next 20 minutes talking about poop.
Yeah.
And actually, okay, we're on the next 3 days talking about poop. And I think your mind was blown. Like, so tell me your side of that story, and Hey, what you got out of that? Because I mean, it was pretty memorable for me. I think we still talk about it to this day. It's freaking hilarious.
You talking about the poo bags?
Yes, they're amazing.
They are pretty cool. They are pretty cool. So let's cover a couple things here. First off, it's normally just me and my kids. I don't go with a group, a small group, a big group, no group.
Hold on. Empire Jeep just said, "Save a step and throw the food in the pooper."
I probably lose a little weight.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, hey, you and me both, bro. You and me both.
So,
anyways, you and your kids.
Yeah, so I don't normally have to worry about where I'm setting up because we're the only ones there. So as I was setting up, you were setting up behind me. So I didn't truly walk over to your scuttle and start setting up shop. I didn't realize that we were both setting up in the same place.
Okay, I'll give you that. That.
And then second was, who knew that the toilet lid lift up and you can actually put the bags in and around that thing? That's pretty dialed.
It's a game changer, bro.
Yeah.
It is a game changer.
Yeah, that was different. So we had all kinds of funky ways of mounting those bags before. I didn't realize that whole second half of that thing came apart. So that's why you always check your equipment.
Always check your equipment.
Well, always check funny your equipment. Read the directions.
I have my wife to thank for that one because like you give me like, a knife, like a spatula and some like aluminum foil and a couple of sticks and I'm good to go. Right. I'll find a meal and I'll dig a hole, whatever. And we were doing the Rubicon trip the year before. And she's like, well, like, I'm not pooping in a hole. I'm not going to the restroom in the hole. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this is how we do it. It's camping. Like,
right.
She's like, well, I'm not going. I was like, okay, we're getting the pooper. And then we get the poop tent, which you made a costume out of, which was freaking hilarious. And so once you get the poop tent and the pooper with the bag, it's kind of hard to go back, man. Like, that's pretty convenient.
That's because you fit inside the poop tent. I don't. That's why it's cool for you. I got some big ass shoulders.
All right, I've. It's funny because I wasn't thinking you were going to say shoulders. I'm wide in certain areas. You know what I mean, as well. It's a tight fit, but it's the best view that you're ever going to get in the bathroom, in my opinion. Like you get the little thing, right? You put the bag with the powder.
Yeah, it was rad on Buck Island, sitting in that thing and then looking out over the lake. That was rad.
There is nothing like dropping a deuce at Buck Island. I'm just saying. Like, and I'm sorry if we're offending folks or like grossing people out, but let's just be honest, man.
Yeah, like, everybody has that moment when they're like, I can't believe I'm dropping one right here. This is amazing.
Yeah. That's like, I did a backpacking trip in the Sierras. We did like 20-mile hike, several thousand feet elevation change or whatever. And I'm telling you, man, you have not pooped. You've not lived until you've pooped in the woods with no cover. Like that is an experience that everyone should like. Well, not everyone, but everyone should like at least try to pursue because it's an experience. But we had that, and it's funny because I think where did we stay? You had recommended a spot to camp on the second day. Let's tell folks about that where we stayed and.
We stayed at the second night. At Rubicon Springs, right at the Dirty Dozens campground.
Yeah, I think it was Dirty Dozen.
Yeah,
you had a spot picked out. You're like, oh my god, this is a spot. And it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Since there was like 80 people already there when we got there, that spot was still open for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ended up being pretty dialed.
It was cool. I mean, I think so we were there with Jeep Generation. We're good friends of ours. Kevin from Jeep Generation was there. John from Jail Crawler on Instagram was there.
And for the record,
Um,
Kevin's the one with the $80 shovel to go poop.
is it $80? I thought it was like $300. I almost cut myself on that dang
Yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah. It was like
Beaver
$300 shovel.
shovel, right? Like, you and I had an opportunity to just kind of like actually both at Buck Island and back at Dirty Dozen, just kind of chat. By the way, like your son, like takes the best pictures. I mean, with all due respect, he takes better pictures than you and I both do.
Dude, he's got a good knack for it, man. He's willing to put in the legwork and get in cool spots, and he takes a lot of rad pictures.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. But I think the PSA for today is like, man, you don't need a $300 shovel that is powder coated to match your Jeep. I think you were telling me about that, right? Didn't someone do that recently? You were telling me.
Yeah, I saw it on the gram. Someone powder coated their crazy beaver shovel to match their Jeep.
I understand you want to do it for the grants, but you don't need. I'm just telling you, right? As someone who's pretty spoiled out on the trail, I mean, we cook really good food on the trail. Like if you're ever with us, you ever see me or Billy, I'm gonna ball and told you here right now, but you ever see us on the trail, like, dude, just come up, say hello. I guarantee you we will share a beer, some tacos, or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Um, because I think that's what this whole thing is really about. But before we transition, Billy, anything else you want to say about pooping in the woods with a $300 shovel or without one?
I got a lot of experience. I know that.
Are you saying you're full of shit? I mean, like
and anybody that goes with me by the second or third day, they're like, "Really, dude? We got to stop again." It's like, I didn't build myself. I don't know.
Hey, man, listen. Everybody poops. Everybody poops.
Right?
We're just being. I mean, to your point, we're just being real, man. We're being real dudes, like the average man, like real men, like talking about real things. And of course, and man, okay, I'm gonna run to the camera. You know, y'all talk about poop when you go camping. We all do it. We all do it. Like if you got kids, if you're married, you got a family, like poop is a pretty serious topic, and we all talk about it.
And people, when you do, it's not nasty to pick up your own toilet paper. It's a lot better than me and my kids picking up your toilet paper. So if you're gonna drop it in the woods, pick up your damn toilet paper. Man,
and I was gonna transition to our next topic, which is we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. That's why we don't got any sponsors. So we can go right into that topic. Taking care of our trails, man. Like I think that's where you and I really connected. It's two different ideas of what being a Rocklander really is. And for you, it was this idea of like, which I absolutely love about you, man. Like you're doing it. In my opinion, everyone has a different view of what overlanding and rocklanding and rock crawl, all those things are. But you are doing what I believe is like the epitome of what if we all have the opportunity, and this is my challenge to you. If you have the opportunity to do what Billy and others are doing and just take your kids, your family out to the wild and enjoy it, they were going to remember that. I still remember going camping with my family when I was like 8 years old. I still remember my first trip, to the wilderness, to like Yosemite. I will never forget my first trip to Yosemite.
right.
But here's the challenge is that we have to take care of those trails. Like what you just said, Billy, is so on point, man. Like I don't mind picking up after myself. And the reality is like every so often, for example, today the Santa Anas were at full stream here in Southern California. the Santas, if you're not aware of them, it's just really gusty winds, high wind speeds. And so, of course, it happens on trash day. And so there's
Right.
trash everywhere, right? I care about my community. As I'm walking the dog, I pick up people's, trash that fell over and I throw it in their bin. No big freaking deal, right? It's either that or it ends up in my yard because I'm at the end of the cul-de-sac, right?
Right.
It's no different. It's no different when we're on the trails, man. Like, it only takes a second to like pick up your own trash and maybe another half a second to like grab another, piece or two that you see out there. Cause unfortunately it happens. And I think where you and I really resonated was that we both had that same belief that we gotta take care of our trails, man. Like, you know, the whole like tread lightly, the whole leave no trace, pack it in, pack it out. It's not that freaking hard, man. I
Right.
love that you just did that.
Yeah, man. I just think it's, if we do have a voice, it's a good one to use that on. But there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people with bigger voices than us in our community that would rather promote their products or floss the freebie knickknacks they got rather
Hmm.
than just take once a week to educate, remind, organize. We donated some of our hoodies that we sold and gave the money to Desert Cleanse Project. Anything that we can do to help, it's not a whole lot of money, but it's something. And if everybody just gave something to either their time, and if you don't have the time, I totally get it, but you could promote it, promote tread lightly, promote cleaning up, you
Yeah.
know, and donate where you can to the people
Hmm.
that are out there doing it. Because I mean, you've seen, man, it's already from even 5 years ago to now. The trails are
Yeah.
getting crowded, they're getting smaller, they're getting damaged, they're getting closed.
Yeah. It's
So
it's unfortunate. I think it is what it is with the current state of things, right? Things being shut down. I see Tony Carvalho just joined from Canada, bro. They're on lock.
yeah, that
Like they
sucks.
can't do jack out there right now. So I can only imagine, like, even here where we're restricted to some of the things that we can do, we're seeing a lot more people get out. Um, and who can blame them, right? But hey, like it's okay to approach them. There's some strategy, and I'm not going to get into today or whatever. We're not here to preach or like browbeat people, but it's like, hey man, if you love getting out, like help others learn how to do that by setting a good example. It's not that hard, man.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. And I think if if there is a war cry or a sentiment, it is that like we are Rocklander Nation and we care about each other. And mind you, we both run Jeeps. I think Billy, you go with bunch of guys running all kinds of different rigs, right?
Yeah.
Toyotas,
Yeah. Well, I
right?
mean, I'm on my third Jeep, but I also had three Toyotas before that. Super Duty. I've had a
Hmm.
pre-runner. I mean, ran the gamut. So you can rock land in anything, really. Not a
Yeah.
Subaru. No
Yeah,
Subaru.
and it's about for us. What we really connected was it's about us being outside, creating memories, and encouraging others to do the same while taking care of what we see around us. Man, like we picked up some trash. I know you were actually on a big cleanup project where I think that's where you met Kevin, right?
Yeah, that's where I met Kevin.
Right, Joshua Tree, right?
Yeah.
And that might be a good topic for another episode, but I think that's ultimately what we're trying to get folks to like really get inspired about is like just get outside. You know, the joke about do you really need a $300 shovel? Like, no, man, a sleeping bag, a tent. I don't care if it's a rooftop or a $40. I have a $40 tent that I rock. It's actually up there in the garage. I also have a really nice pop up tent that I blame you, Billy. B4 tent. And but that's a topic for another story of how pissed I was that you were already done with wrapping up your tent, and I was still like trying to get my polls all
Right.
figured out, and you were done already.
Yeah, but you weren't as mad as John.
That's the teaser for next episode. We're gonna talk
Right.
about tents. And by the way, this is not prepared. This is not like scripted. We're just having a conversation. We had an outline that talked about intros. How's your Jeep? Where did Billy go? Do I need $100 shovel or $300 shovel? Sponsors, and that's about it. That's the extent of the notes, right?
Yeah.
But I think we just go to the next topic. Tents.
Hey,
Like
that can make or
pop-up
break a
tent.
trip, man. That can make or break it. You got to have a quick, easy setup, or you're going to get over it real quick, especially if you run into wind or rain.
Oh, I got stories on that. So the next episode on Rocklander Nation podcast is the Triple T. Tents. I forgot what were we talking about? Tents, something else, and something else. We're gonna make it up as we go.
Yeah.
No idea what we're doing.
Yeah. Tents, though. Yeah, we got that one.
I think I just like wah 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 the ending there. I swear to God, I had an idea. It was fantastic. It just kind of fills it out at the end. But
Tents, trails, and tequila.
I like that. I like that. We're gonna work on that a little bit. Hopefully you enjoyed today's conversation. Billy, I want to thank you for getting me off my rear end and inspiring me to finally kick this off. I could not do this without you. I'm looking forward to our next podcast.
Absolutely.
And as always, I always like to end this with just be nice to each other, man. It is not that hard. It is not that hard. Smile. Like if someone needs help, give them a hand. I don't care if they're rolling a Suzuki, a Yoda, a Jeep, or God forbid, a Bronco. We're gonna talk about that another time. But like those new Broncos, I'm a little bit torn. I'm confused about how I feel about the Bronco. But just be nice to each other, man. It's not that hard. Smile, wave. Please give me a Jeep wave if you see me on the road. Give Billy a Jeep wave. Wait, he's over there here on this way. I'm not sure how you guys see it, but and with that, love you. Peace out. Billy, any closing thoughts?
That's it, man. I think this is good. We need the everyman voice out there, and we are the everyman. And with the whole rock landing bit, I mean, it's us doing our thing. One day we might be in Cougar Buttes, we might be running Hammer Down, we might be running fire roads all the way out to Death Valley. You know, there's no right or wrong, or if you're down enough or you're not, if you're hardcore enough or if you're not. If you just want to get out and wheel some hard trails and do it with your family, do it with your refrigerator, do it with your gear, this is the place for you. Rocklander Nation.
Amen, brother. Peace out. And with that, I would bid you adieu. Take care, y'all.
Take care.